Hey, what's up guys? I'm BTC. In this video, we're doing a countdown of the top 5 tips for Overwatch customization. Starting at number 5, customizing your crosshair. One of the most frequent questions I get asked in my videos is how did I change my crosshair? It's a pretty simple to do, but apparently a lot of people don't know about it, and it's also very important. A lot of the default crosshairs in Overwatch are a bit lacking, so it's a good idea to change it as soon as you can. Start by going to your options, then go to controls, and you'll see in the middle of a screen something called reticle. The first option is bloom. This is what makes your crosshair get larger every time you shoot. The idea behind this is to show you when your shots are losing accuracy due to spread, but this option will actually make you more inaccurate, so you should probably shut it off. Next is the type. It's going to start on default, and this is good for some characters like Zarya and Hanzo, but for most heroes, you're going to want to either use the short crosshairs or the dot. The last part is very important, and that's the color. You almost never want to use white for your crosshair because it can be too difficult to see against some backgrounds and characters. Instead, I suggest you use one of the bright colors like green, teal, or purple. Those three will stand out in almost any situation and make your aiming a lot easier. Moving on to number 4 is adjusting your sensitivity. This is probably the most important customization option you have, and a lot of players simply don't spend enough time making sure that their sensitivity is correct. You can use the slider bar to increase and decrease the sensitivity, as well as just simply typing in a number. One of the best ways to determine if your sensitivity is correct is to use a trick that I learned in CSGO. What you're going to need to do is load up the practice range. Pick any character you want, and then leave the spawn area. You want to line yourself up in front of one of the training bots. Put your crosshair on the yellow dot on the robot's head. Then, you're going to strafe to the left and back to the right in a semicircle while trying to keep your crosshair on the yellow dot. If you're not able to keep the crosshair in the same location while moving back and forth, then it means your sensitivity is too high. Go back into your options, lower your sensitivity, and try again. Keep doing this until you're able to find the highest sensitivity you can have and still keep your crosshair in the same spot. It's important to note that you don't have to have the same sensitivity number as somebody else. A big mistake people do is they try to copy the sensitivity of high-level competitive players. You don't want to do that. Different people have different levels of control over their muscles and their arms and their motion. And you're probably not going to have the same amount of control over the crosshair as a high-level player. Find the sensitivity that works for you, where you can move back and forth and keep it in the same spot. At number 3, we're going to talk about getting more frames per second, reducing input lag, and screen delay. To start, you want to make sure that Overwatch is running at the same resolution that your desktop is running at. Next, you want to make sure that VSync is off. While this will likely result in some screen tearing, turning VSync on will result in a very slight delay in the game. What you see on the screen will be about a half second behind what is actually happening in the game. This means that when you're aiming at an enemy, they're not going to be exactly where your monitor is showing you they are. So leave VSync off. Next, you're going to want to turn your settings all the way down. I know a lot of people like to see pretty video games with great graphics, but when it comes to first-person shooters, everybody who takes the game seriously, especially the pros, will turn their settings all the way down. This was true in CSGO, and it's true in Overwatch as well. The reason for this is to increase your frames per second and to have a smoother, more accurate gameplay. It may not be pretty, but it will be easier to hit the enemy. Number 2, HUD control and keyboard shortcuts. Whenever you're in a match and someone on your team is being less than friendly or maybe causing some problems, you have the ability to mute and block them. By pressing P, you will be taken to a social menu, and from there you can right-click on the name of someone causing problems. You then have the option to mute them, which will prevent you from hearing them in voice chat, or you can block them, which will prevent you from hearing them, and it won't show anything that they type in chat. Additionally, you can report them as necessary. At any time, you can also leave voice chat altogether by simply clicking the microphone next to the team label. If you really want to shut out everything, you can also hold Control, Shift, and press C in order to hide all text chat as well. While communication in this game is encouraged, sometimes shutting off the voice and chat can remove distractions and allow you to focus only on your gameplay. Use it at your own discretion. There are a few other keyboard shortcuts that not everybody knows about that you might want to use. The first is you can toggle your entire user interface and hide everything. This makes it actually really good for taking screenshots. To do this, you hold Alt and then you press Z. Next, you can show your FPS and also your ping in the game by toggling your FPS display. Hold Shift, Control, and then R. You can also toggle your net graph. This is something for slightly more advanced users. Hold Shift, Control, and then press N. And lastly, at number 1, customizing heroes. I'm not talking about skins, voice lines, or any of that stuff. No, what we're going to do is go back into the controls, but this time we're going to adjust individual hero settings. On the top right, you'll see a combo box that says All Heroes. If you click on it, it will show you a list of all the characters in the game, and by clicking on one of these, you'll see some new options have appeared. If you change any of these character settings, it will override the default settings whenever you're playing that specific character. That means not only can you change the crosshair for different characters, but the sensitivity and other options as well. Some characters will have more options than others. For example, Bastion only has the option to show allied health bars, but Widowmaker has the option to toggle zoom and change the zoom sensitivity. Other characters like Mercy and Reinhardt also have options to toggle their main abilities. So rather than having to hold one of the mouse buttons, you simply press it once and it will stay that way until you press it again. For Widow, it will keep her zoomed in, Reinhardt will keep his shield up, and Mercy will continue healing. Again, all of this will happen until you press the mouse button a second time. I would recommend that you go through the custom settings of all the different characters and experiment a little bit to find out what options you might like better than the default settings. Alright guys, that is it for this one. I'm always uploading the latest in tips, guides, and Overwatch news, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of it. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, share it with your friends. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.